Hello my friends and welcome back. I haven't slept for almost a week. Yesterday my baby daughter turned 1 week old and I'm really proud about it, but I don't sleep at all, so I don't know nothing. It's day, it's night, what date is it? All I know it's hump day, Wednesday edition. If you're wondering how I ended up in this situation, well, go and read my book, 8 Missions in Ukraine. It shows exactly what happened. I went to Ukraine 8 times, the last one was my honeymoon with my wife, and now we have a baby daughter. How did it all go down like that? Well, go and find out, link in the description below. But now my friends, I have something to share with you. Russia comes out with totally new tank. It's newer and better than the T-14 Armata, it's more capable. It's an anti-drone tank. Let's watch it. Look at that. It has these spinning things. It's first of its kind in the world. At first glance, it looks like a rather strange machine. By the standards of conventional weapons, it has no cargo hold, no machine gun, no traditional armor. Is it a tank at all, or a meat box? Instead, there are several rotating discs with steel cables. But it's precisely this unusual design that gives it its main strength. Look at that! They throw a little styrofoam thing at it and it blocks it. Wow! Imagine, you're 10 Russian soldiers, a whole squad, in this meat box. It's a meat freezer, and you try to get out fast and this thing is moving, you know, battle situation, try to get out fast, people trip over each other. These metal rods will slice these Russian soldiers to bits, no regards to safety at all, because there is no necessity for safety in the Russian army. They don't want them to be safe, I guess they want to get rid of them. What is interesting contraption? What is it for? I understand this is just a test version. Yes, it's a test version. The idea is that the shafts rotate which drive this, let's say, fan with cables. Hey, put a razor blades on top of it. Hey, while you're at it, while you're mincing up Russian meat, put some razor blades on top. It makes it easier. When an FPV drone tries to attack, the cables either knock it down or push it aside. And when a Russian soldier tries to exfil from the vehicle, it gets made into minced meat or red mist. Genius. True Russian genius. I have many videos for you today, my friends. This next one, we have Russians filming themselves, Russian infantry squad filming themselves in a foxhole somewhere in Donetsk region. They stormed the Ukrainian position. They took a foxhole and now they're stuck in here. This is Phil, my brother. We assaulted together with him. Here is Молодой, which means young. Here our humble little effing house. Pass us some water. Send us water. Look how cozy and happy they are. We have foxholes here. Yeah, but we stormed it with the lads. We stormed it. We stormed it. Now we're sitting around waiting for water. What am I, a water carrier? Without water, and not here, not there, the effing birds won't let us effing leave. We've dug ourselves in the roots here. Look how happy these guys are, look at that. Without water. Especially this dude. Look at that happy little face. Yeah, they got what they wanted. They advanced 15 meters perhaps, took a new foxhole, and they will probably end there. Their stories will end there, nothing else to add here. Now, let's go and watch what a bus full of Russian prisoners of war are being told when they return to Russia. Ukraine and Russia are always having these prisoner exchanges when busloads get freed to Ukraine and busloads get freed to Russia. But this woman is speaking to a whole busload of Russian prisoners of war before they're released to Russia, like before they get out of the bus. Hello everyone. Congratulations. Today you are returning to your homeland as part of an exchange program. For 4 months everyone waited a very long time for this exchange. Family and friends I would like to add that I know that there are many prisoners of war in this exchange who have signed contracts with places of detention under investigation. This is a very vulnerable category of prisoners of war upon their return to Russia. And now it gets interesting. I've always said what happens to Russian prisoners of war, but now we have it on video. I would like to warn you that your commanders will try to send you back to war as quickly as possible. And look at the face of that man. He's like, oh my god, no, send me back to Ukrainian prison camp, please. I don't want to go back to Russia. Not allowing you to see your family and loved ones. Imagine you're prisoners of war. You get back to your homeland and this is the first message you get. A Russian woman telling you that nope, you will not see your family, you will be immediately sent back to the front. Congratulations. This next video comes to us from Sumy region. I don't usually show these kind of videos of bombers, Baba Yagas bombing Russian troops anymore, but since this video has such a density of Russian troops in it, if you look at it, how many do you count? I'll try to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and there's some exiting from the vehicles. Let's round it up. It's about 20 Russian troops. And the Baba Yaga releases 2 presents at the same time. Check this out. 1 present. 2 presents, and bada beam, bada boom, freedom exported. These Russians are made into good Russians. So many of them clustered together. It's like you lift up a stone and the cockroaches are running away. Looks the same way exactly. And another instance from the same oblast, Sumy. Russians pushed through a gas pipeline. They love to use gas pipelines. The pipeline runs across the oblast border, the state border, and of course there are defensive lines all over this place, but the pipeline just goes straight through it. So about 20 plus Russian soldiers crawled through that pipeline, and we know what happened to them because we have a video of it. I wouldn't tell you. Look at that. That's how they do it. They have these trolleys. The pipelines are pretty big, by the way. This is a big one. They go in with a whole platoon almost, like that, and they exit somewhere on the Ukrainian side. And we now know what happened. Baba Yaga visited them also. They're all gone. And now let's go to a third location in Sumy Oblast where a whole Russian squad is taken out with only 1 present from Baba Yaga. Today I just have a cluster of these Baba Yaga videos where there's very big density of Russian soldiers and only 1 or 2 presents. Look at that. That's a whole squad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess that's 6. Maybe something more even here. Almost a squad. And they cuddle up in this small trench line here. All next to each other. I don't know. Maybe to stay warm. Only 1 present is sent. And look at that. The epicenter. Oh, the second one is also sent. But the epicenter of the first one covers the entire area. You get 1 entire squad with 1 present. This is efficiency. Top efficiency. I'm guessing these Baba Yaga drone operators got a lot of points for that. Ukrainian army uses this point system, so they got a lot of points. I'm guessing they get to rotate to see their families. This next video is just super awesome, super Hollywood-like, because it is an F-16 taking down a Shahed drone, and they're both visible in the same shot, which is awesome. You usually see this kind of timing in movies only. This is the Shahed drone. Loud, slow, triangular, boom! It exploded. And now you see the F-16. And I didn't see any missiles. I think it used its cannon, front cannon. Let's listen to that. I think you can hear a little bit like the cannon shooting. Listen to it. Did you hear it? I think it's this one. Yeah. Sounds like an A-10 Warthog almost. But this is awesome. These moments are very rare. But yeah, F-16s can take out Shaheds with their front cannons. Now, my friends, let's go to Russia, Belgorod, or let's say it like the Ukrainians, Belgorod. Every time Russia launches drone attack against Ukraine, Ukrainians counterattack Belgorod Oblast and the electrical producing infrastructure there. Belgorod is a big city. And it's now freezing. I mean, there are very cold weather right now in Ukraine and Russia in those areas, and Belgorod doesn't have heating or electricity. So now the governor of Belgorod really loses it, and it's very dangerous in Russia to lose it and to say something against the Kremlin, but he does. And I'll just read it to you because it's pretty good. The governor of Belgorod is complaining and demanding that Putin stop attacking Ukraine as it is responding with counterattacks. And I quote, "Give us air defense systems first, and then they can bomb Ukraine. But they have failed us. They can't protect us. And for every attack on Kyiv or other enemy cities, we get counterattacks. They can't protect the people of Belgorod. Then they shouldn't bomb anyone." It's so weird that the issue here is not bombing Ukraine, but bombing Ukraine without they getting air defense systems, because now Ukraine attacks back and they don't like that. It's such a Russian way to put it. It's like, you can bomb them, you can do war crimes if you want to, but give us air defense systems first, then we don't care. By the way, Kremlin now calls governor of Belgorod a traitor. I think he will fall out of the window, because you cannot do that in Russia. You cannot criticize like that. And the situation in Belgorod is really bad. They are ordering Timu radiators and heaters because their central heating systems are really cracking up and leaking this dark water. You know when it happens when they freeze, the heating pipes freeze, this is what happens. Your radiators freeze and break and this dark water comes out. It's really bad. So yeah, this is reality of the old Belgorod city right now. A little over a week ago, Starlink was cut off for Russians and for Ukrainians who hadn't whitelisted their devices. But Russians lost all access to Starlink. This was a massive blow, and it has already resulted in some Ukrainian operational success. They are using the darkness of Russian units being in the dark. They cannot communicate fast, orders cannot be relayed fast enough, so Ukrainians are pushing in some areas. But it's not only Starlink. Russians love to shoot themselves in the foot. It appears that after losing Starlink in Ukraine, Russians have also blocked Telegram in Russia, which likely was used for communications at the front lines. So, Telegram is made by Pavel Durov, owner and creator of Telegram. He is Russian, and he's pro-Kremlin, he's anti-Ukraine. I don't know why they would block it. Well, because in Telegram people can have the last remnants of free speech that there was in Russia in these encrypted communication apps like Telegram or Signal. Now they will block Telegram, which is also, coincidentally, used a lot on the front lines. Starlink was used and Telegram was the app that they used to relay coordinates. You know, all the comms are encrypted in Telegram. That's why Russians are using it. But Kremlin, I guess, doesn't think about that. They want to clamp down on free speech, but coincidentally, they are blocking communications on the front line. It's super bad. Telegram is now being officially blocked in Russia by Roskomnadzor, and this is the chart of complaints about Telegram being down, and it's just skyrocketed because it is down because they're blocking it. And it's not only Telegram, it's also YouTube. YouTube was slowed down heavily since last 2 years in Russia, and now completely blocked. So yeah, Kremlin is fully pushing down the free flow of information. Telegram gone, YouTube gone, and they say it's because they're fighting NATO. There's a specific Duma deputy from Russia who says that Telegram slowdown is a fight against NATO and Russians can't tolerate the inconvenience. Pretty much saying that you must just tolerate it. What can we do? You cannot talk to anybody anymore without us seeing it. Tolerate it. We have to fight against NATO. It's very, very bad. And also, here is Telegram chatter. It's funny, because Telegram is down, but here is Telegram chatter of Russians talking how most units in the Russian army use Telegram for communications. Actually use it for assault operations. Active duty. There's no secret apps, there's no secret connection equipment for them. They just use Starlink and Telegram. Starlink is down and now Telegram will be down. It will be disastrous for Russian units. And we're seeing that already, as I said, translating into Ukrainian success, because this is Rybar, one of the biggest Russian military bloggers, and he published a map showing Ukrainian units penetrating through some Russian defenses into Russian-controlled areas, deeper than we have seen in a few months. This is Pokrovsk area. I know this map is really, like, it's very hard to make anything out of it, but these yellow areas are where Ukrainian units have penetrated through the Russian defenses or offensive lines into the rear areas, and this is a local counterattack, but it's definitely timed by the Ukrainians to the darkness of Russian unit, like they are sitting in the dark. No Starlink and now no Telegram, meaning these units cannot really effectively communicate with each other, or they can do it very slow. So Ukrainians attacked near Pokrovsk, and it seems like there are localized successes already. And this info comes from the Russians, so you know it has to be even more than on this photo, because they usually lessen or diminish Ukrainian successes. Ukrainian forces wasting no time while Russians have lost Starlink. Russian military bloggers saying that Ukraine has launched counter-offensive operations in Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhia regions. Maneuvers reportedly involve an advance from Pokrovsk and Velika Mikhailivka directions, aimed at breaking Russian formations and pushing into the rear areas. Look at that. Beautiful. I love it. Of course, Russians are already moving their reserves into the area, and I gotta be honest with you here, the grey zone is massive. When the war began, the grey zone was 1 to 2 kilometers. It's 15 kilometers now. Grey zone meaning both units, Russian or Ukrainian units, cannot really be present in the grey zone, or they will be eliminated. It's mostly an empty zone, only controlled by drones and just some very fast hit and run tactics. You go into the grey zone, you pull back out, but you cannot be there all the time. So pushing through that, what Ukrainians are doing here, it will cost a lot of manpower, it will cost a lot of equipment. It's really difficult to do. So this is why I'm being realistic here and claiming that this is a localized counteroffensive to make some positions better, but nothing big that would mean any kind of meaningful breakthrough the Russian lines. It's a localized counteroffensive which gives the Ukrainians more advantageous positions. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but this is how it is. Now, let's talk about how the Russian Empire is crumbling. And when I say it, I do mean it. Russian Empire shows itself in Wagner being in Africa. It shows itself in Kazakhstan, in Mongolia, in Armenia, Azerbaijan, everywhere that they have exported their power, soft power or straight military bases, like in Syria, and Syria fell. The Russians are moving their military bases out. This is a direct way we see Russian military force diminishing all across the world, but other way is their soft power being reduced, for example in Kazakhstan and Armenia. I want to specifically talk about these two countries. For example, let's take Armenia. The United States signed a civil nuclear cooperation agreement with Armenia, pledging as much as $9 billion in potential investment as South Caucasus country seeks to reduce its long-standing reliance on Russia for energy. So the United States pretty much opens a way to build a nuclear power plant in Armenia. Armenia has always been dependent on Russia for its only nuclear power plant and for its maintenance and fuel. If Russia loses that, they lose a massive hook on Armenia. The United States will step in, and it's right on the belly of Russia. It's in the Caucasus. So it's a very vulnerable situation for Russia if the United States has that hook in Armenia with their nuclear power plant. It's a big, big loss for Russia, and there's no armies and no weapons involved. It's just a massive loss of soft power. Next, let's take Kazakhstan. In Kazakhstan, the Russian language has been secretly downgraded. The wording regarding the Russian language has been changed in the draft of Kazakhstan new constitution. The draft of Kazakhstan new constitution contains a subtle but fundamental change of the status of the Russian language, saying it is no longer equal to Kazakh language, but alongside the Kazakh language. You might be thinking, oh, what do we worry about one or other word? They mean the same thing. They don't. Russians have always demanded the Russian language be equal to the Kazakh language in Kazakhstan country. Kazakhs don't like that, and since Russia's soft power is diminishing, even neighboring countries to Russia, we see that in Kazakhs just pretty much giving a middle finger and saying, no, we will speak our own language in our country, and Russian language will be a secondary language. These are just small instances showing how Russia, as the photo or image of Russia as a great country and great power, is just diminished all across the globe. Military bases or language being downgraded, Kazakhstan language being more prominent, and Russian language being secondary. All of these show the diminishing power of Russia. And, for example, India is entering a war against the Shadow Fleet, seizing 3 sanctioned tankers. Europe hasn't managed anything like this since 4 years. Now, these specific tankers were more connected to Iran and Iranian Shadow Fleet than Russia, but still, most of the world's Shadow Fleet oil tankers are from Russia or Iran. Those two countries have their economies right now quite linked. So, clamping down on Iranian oil exports also affects Russia. And it's clamping down on Shadow Fleet in general, it's good. It's really bad for Russia. When India does that, European Union and India signed this massive trade deal, which is also super bad for Russia because India is, with China, one of the only countries that in meaningful ways still buy Russian oil. If that were to change, it would be so painful for the Russian war machine. And final instance of how Russian economic power is diminishing in the world is Poland. Poland, compared to Russia on a map, very small, right? But Polish economy is really booming right now, while the Russian economy is shrinking. With Russia's oil exports collapsing and Poland's economy booming, a major shift has occurred. Poland has overtaken Russia in total export value. Russia, $373 billion in export value in 2025, while Poland had $377 billion. Poland is also surpassing $1 trillion in GDP, I think, this year, or they already did. They are catching up to Russia slowly, and Poland very much anti-Russia. They're ordering American tanks, South Korean tanks, they're ordering American artillery, South Korean artillery weapons from Israel. Everywhere, anyone who produces any kind of weapons, they are ordering them, and massive amounts of ammunition. Poland is getting ready to kick Russia's arse. That's how it is. And their economy is booming. So that's really worrying news for Putin. This is what I will end with, my friends. Good news. I am in a haze. Hey, my daughter is 1 week old, and it has been like the most awesome and most longest week of my life, since all of the nights that I should have been sleeping, I have not been sleeping because she likes to sleep during the day, and at night what she does is just open her eyes wide, look around, do this all the time, and makes just like Peppa Pig noises a little bit. I cannot sleep like that. I gotta be up with her, and I will be, but I'm tired. So if you want to find out how I managed to get into this situation, go and get 8 missions in Ukraine if you haven't. I know a lot of people have read it already, but have you? Link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to support me in this new fatherhood I'm experiencing, then best way to do that is in Buy Me a Coffee. We have 3 new members actually ever since last video, and I'm so glad because they joined after finding out I have a daughter, so I'm guessing these people specifically support my fatherhood, which I really like and I'm really thankful for. I'll butcher your names, my friends. Sam Spenker Peters. Yes. Ricardo Santana Lopez. Oh, we have 2 people with 3 long and beautiful names. But Ricardo Santana Lopez, I'm just saying it as I think you should be saying it. And finally, Sopje Tobias. That is butchered also. If you would like to be in this list, please consider becoming a member and Buy Me a Coffee. Until my next video, my sleepless next video like today, it will be on Friday. Be sure to subscribe. And as always, Slava Ukraini, and bye bye.